should be coming up. Okay, I see us on Facebook. I've got the notification on Twitch.
Okay.
And it says we're live on YouTube.
Excellent. Like and share.
If I can... Okay. All right, there we go. So, hi guys.
What's up?
This is Drew,
This is Jacob.
and tonight we are reviewing a movie we reacted to.
Yes. Luca.
Luca, the Pixar Miyazaki movie
Yes.
or Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
I think it's closer, but anyway.
Yeah, it's more of a Ghibli film than anything, or it's inspiration.
Yes, it's inspired. It's
Yes.
not actually a Studio Ghibli Pixar collaboration, which
No.
to some degree I'm half surprised that never happened, but oh well. So that's what we are reviewing tonight.
Mhm.
Of course, and the season finale of season 2 of X-Men the Animated Series.
Yes.
Reunions.
Mm-hmm.
A reunion, not
Yes.
reunions.
Yeah, reunion.
Finally giving an excuse as to why Magneto and Xavier have had their one scene an episode out in the Savage Lands.
Wrap all that up in a nice little bun.
If you want to call it that, sure.
Yeah, why not?
There's a lot of interesting trivia when we get to that one.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So just more example for our audience. So the way normally the camera is set up,
We are at a different angle.
we're at a different angle. And so the camera itself is lower, obviously you can see. So with how my ADD and dyslexia goes, my eyes are automatically drawn to the lights behind the camera. So I'm trying not to focus on those where I'm just looking off in the distance, not paying attention. So
Whereas I don't mind making it look like I'm staring off into the distance, not paying attention, because literally I'm just looking at the screen.
Yeah.
And it looks like I'm not looking anywhere near where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, but it looks like you generally are. So I was trying to figure out some fashion or form in order to keep my attention on the camera itself, which is like right here from my perspective. So I was like, I first put a straw up there. So, okay, it's going to really work. And then it was like, do you got an amiibo that might be a little more colorful? And it was like, so he handed me a Samus.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the way the lighting is going.
Yeah.
You can't, because you specifically said, give me a colorful one.
Well, it is colorful.
And I thought it was colorful, but from this angle, she's in silhouette.
Yeah, she's in silhouette.
So, yeah.
And but like my glasses broke last Sunday. So I'm wearing my contacts. So most of the week people look at me. It's like, are you okay?
There's something wrong. I can't place what it is.
Yeah. Be like, normally there's
something missing.
Little plastic specks in my eyes.
It's amazing how that one little thing changes how somebody.
Oh, looks. Yeah. Or like your haircut or something like that. Because Drew looks a lot different with a new cut.
My hair had gotten long. I needed it cut. And I finally was able to run by the barbershop this afternoon. Because unlike you, I don't make
monthly
reservations.
Yeah.
I don't have an appointment. That's the word I'm looking
for.
I don't make appointments. I just show up and say, yeah, I want it blocked off the ears, off in the back, off the ears, blocked in the back, cut short.
Right.
Well, I specifically said cut short this time because the last time I didn't say that, and I had this one hair that started right about here at the part and apparently stretched all the way over here, which under most circumstances is fine until you get hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
And then
it
after
goes,
a long day of work, and it just kind of goes down, and it was like going right down into here.
Oh, yeah. No.
And I was always having to move it back out of the way.
So, no.
So, yeah, now I'm back to my normal, nice little covering. Could be worse.
It could be.
At least I didn't go flat top.
That is true.
Because then you know who I look like?
Drew Carey.
Yeah. You want to know how I learned who Drew Carey was? Going to school with a flat top back when I wore glasses.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
People asking me where Mimi was, and I'm going, who the heck is Mimi? I don't watch this show. They kept saying Drew Carey, and I go, do you mean Jim Carrey? Because I'd heard of Jim Carrey.
Oh my gosh.
Hadn't heard of Drew Carey at the time.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, we'll get started very shortly. I realize I need to start working better on social media posts because I just completely forget throughout the week. It does. Probably what I need to do is actually just get myself like on Sunday afternoon after church is just be like, okay, plan everything out, what I'm gonna post, and just the
schedule to go out.
Out throughout the week.
You could do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a reaction episode that needs to go up. I have not gotten it edited yet because I had to do a little bit extra work for album art for Snow White.
Right.
Because you're doing you already, before you got it colored, you had already modified it for a patron art piece.
Yes,
and so you sent it to me and said, can you do this artwork? Can you do the inking and coloring on it? And I said, sure.
So it's collaboration.
So it's a collaboration. It was fun to work on.
Yes.
But it took up more time during the week than I expected it
to. Fair.
So yeah, our Suzume reaction should go up.
Yes.
Well, it won't go up tonight, and it probably won't go up tomorrow, maybe Sunday.
Yeah. Suzume, definitely go watch it if you are a fan.
If you like the Makoto Shinkai films.
Yeah, Makoto Shinkai stuff. Amazing.
Like Your Name and Weathering with You.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many people in our group are into that.
But who knows,
those
right?
episodes don't download as much as I would
like,
but then I get it.
Mm-hmm. And also we're doing a special
Cellcast Plus
reaction of something
which we're halfway recorded.
Yes,
because of scheduling issues.
Something
we had to do the pre-thing last Saturday.
Oh my gosh. And
then we didn't have a chance to record we're not gonna have a chance to record the final one until
tomorrow
afternoon.
Yeah,
at the earliest. It depends on how tired we are after that trip to Dallas.
That is true.
May have to do it Sunday.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
This is gonna be another long weekend, let's say that.
It won't be too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was a reaction I saw that was coming out. And I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun because it's something from both of our childhood. And
I like how we keep saying this, so we haven't said what it is yet.
No. Of course not.
It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers
Once and Always on Netflix.
30th anniversary special.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to say episode, but it is a special.
Yeah, it's special. It's a movie.
I'm sorry. This is a weird thing for me.
Okay.
I will not fight anyone else who wants to call that a movie.
Yeah.
But a movie has to be more than an hour long.
Well, technically a movie can be 45 minutes.
I call that a special.
Okay, special.
Because the thing is, biotechnical counts 30 minutes is a short, technically. Okay. That's like the maximum time for a short.
Okay.
Technically, you can have a movie at 45 minutes by some definitions.
It's almost like a long feature.
But that feels like a weird thing to call that a movie, even though there's been plenty of Disney Channel and Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon original movies that were an hour long.
Yeah.
But that's like a 2-part episode of a regular show. So, I don't know. I call it a special just because, but Netflix does call it an original film.
Mm-hmm.
So, your mileage may vary. I'm not going to fight anybody over anything, but I'm not going to call it a movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Though, keep an eye out for that. That should be out by next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't looked what our next movie is.
Looks like we're actually doing another reaction.
Well, I think that reaction was.
I put that one on there.
Yeah, but that's not that didn't that get pushed back? The Little Mermaid.
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know if that's the date anymore.
Yeah, I have to
The
look at
next full episode is our rewind of Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
that. Yes, thank you very much.
Which I've got to. Is that on HBO Max?
Yes, it's on HBO Max.
It's not the good version though, right?
No, it's not the director's cut. I have the director's cut. I just got to find it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've seen the scene, so maybe seeing it another way will provide
Yeah.
a different perspective.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll still say no. The original one was the better one.
Yeah. Agreed.
All the murder and electric shock and torture of a young Robin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Probably from my perspective or from my view, Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker is probably one of the best Batman films ever.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Of course, now that I am looking at the list, I need to email Francisco
Ruh-roh.
because he did say he wanted to be on Fire and Ice.
Ooh. When are we doing Fire and Ice?
May 5th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a hold of him. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's still up for it.
Maybe. Hey,
And
Roy,
then,
come on.
and then we need to get some more movies on the actual list.
Oh,
Because by May 19th, no, sorry, by June 2nd,
oh,
is
yeah.
our last one on this list.
Yes.
Not counting, is the last movie we have on the list. We have not put anything on that past that.
That is true. And also, we have to do at the end of next month is our plus film.
which we have. Well, we did not pick that one yet.
No, we haven't picked it yet.
Because we hadn't. Okay, let's just talk about that right now while we're waiting for people to come in.
Oh, okay.
No guarantee what we decide, what we say here is going to be what the movie is.
Yeah, because this is gonna be like an older film, right?
Well, that's the thing. By all technical accounts, what is okay? So
Glass Onion
Glass
was
Onion was less than 3 months.
yeah,
Because it came out in December.
yeah,
That constitutes still a new film in our eyes, right?
Mhm,
So
right.
yeah, the next one is an old film.
Okay.
So the other one that was on the poll
Mm-hmm.
was at least a year ago, I believe, was when the other James Bond movie,
Yeah,
No Time to Die.
yeah.
So that's a possibility. I think that I don't know if that constitutes old film though.
Okay, yeah. We can work around it.
And I've got another one I know we can count as an old film because it's at least 5 years old.
Okay, what would that be?
Shin Godzilla.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I'm gonna make you watch all the Hideki Anno
Of
Shin
course,
movies.
of course.
Because you're gonna make me
Of
watch
course.
all the Hideki Anno television series.
Yes.
I think it's safe to say I think we both like Hideki Anno. It's just I've seen one part and he's seen the other,
Right.
and we've not yet mixed it yet.
Apparently not. But
There is a dub, so it's not going to be
Okay.
subtitled
okay, good.
unless you
Like,
want it to be subtitled.
I can do subtitles. It's just
I know,
more.
but you have a preference, and
Yeah.
the reading disorder gives you trouble.
Yes,
I get it.
it does.
I
It does.
understand completely.
Yes.
I have never judged you at all on your dub preference.
Yeah,
I have a dub preference.
I prefer be like understanding. Understanding. It's just more
For
like
every one of y'all at home, this is why we always do the English dubs. I prefer dub, and it's a whole lot easier for him if we do dub.
true.
So that's why we always do the English dub. Plus, more than likely, English dub is what most people who are going to be tuning into it for the first time is going to listen to.
Very true.
Or you'll go and listen to the other one and say, those guys are idiots for only for only listening to the dub. The original subtitled version is where all the great acting is. I said I had something and I lost it. Anyway,
What was that one film that you let me borrow, and I haven't watched it yet. But you're like, we need to review this film.
I let you borrow a film.
Yes.
You haven't watched it yet.
Classic film about a guy riding a bomb.
Dr. Strangelove.
Thank you.
That is one we need to watch at some point.
Yes.
I forgot I let you borrow that.
Yes.
That is a classic.
Yes.
You will probably hate it because
Why?
it's satire.
Oh, okay.
It's a dark comedy satire. It's not Galaxy Quest where they're
Okay.
obviously making jokes for you to
Yeah.
laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know they're making jokes.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to say horrible things that are funny if you think about it, but are also very disturbing.
Oh, okay.
Because it's about what happens when might have happened in the Cold War if the bombs got dropped.
Yeah.
And how easy it is.
Yeah.
How it could have been for that to have happened.
Yes.
It's
agreed.
so easy for it to have happened that at the very beginning of the movie, there is an official warning from the U.S. military saying none of this is possible. And you're going, yeah, right. And it is actually based on a serious short story that was detailing that.
Okay.
But it's being done by what's his name? Anyway, you got Peter Sellers playing 3 different characters. He's the original Inspector Clouseau.
Oh, really?
I believe.
Okay.
No. I have
no idea.
I have my names mixed up. I know this. But the guy who played the poacher in Rescuers Down Under. His name. Anyway, he is our main character.
Oh, okay.
The guy who played Patton.
Yeah.
In Patton. I'm going to have to bring Dr. Strangelove up quick. That actually would be a good one for us to do, I think, if you are up for it. It's got a long name, actually.
Yeah.
Peter Sellers. George C. Scott.
There we go. George C. Scott.
Am I right in Peter Sellers being the original Inspector Clouseau? That is the question. Yes, he is the original Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther films.
Oh, excellent.
And then you got Slim Pickens as Major T.J. King Kong, which was supposed to be a Peter Sellers part, but he couldn't pull off a Southern Texas accent.
So they
got Slim Pickens.
Who's Slim Pickens?
That's Slim Pickens.
Oh, okay.
Ironically, he's born in California.
And he's playing a Texan.
He does a lot of rodeo work.
Oh, okay.
And this was his first film, and he's the guy that rides the bomb down.
That
was originally supposed to be Peter Sellers.
Oh, okay.
Peter Sellers plays 3 roles already. The actual Dr. Strangelove, he plays the President of the United States, and he plays the group captain that's stuck at the base where the Go Code got sent out from.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, so we'll definitely put that one on the list. Or heck, let the fans decide.
Let's just do Dr. Strangelove. Now I really want to do it.
Okay, why not? We'll do Dr. Strangelove. So you heard it first.
It's a black and white film. That counts as old, right?
Yeah, it's old. Yeah.
Except it's like made in the 70s. So
well, the 70s is like
60s.
Well,
it's old by our definition.
It's 50 years old now.
By then there was color.
Yes. A film that's now like 60, 50, 60 years old now.
I think I've got that date right. 1964.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it is technically a comedy, but it's a very dark comedy.
Nothing wrong with a dark comedy.
Oh,
comedy of the dark
soul. So this is the War Room set. What's funny is that this little cloth that's on the table, it's actually the same type of cloth they put on poker tables.
Oh,
because they're playing poker with the safety of the world.
That makes sense.
You can't. It only gives you the feel of it because, of course, it's not in color.
Yeah.
And of course, that's my favorite line. You guys can't fight in here. This is the war room. Anyway,
take it outside.
Curious how my mom will interrupt the movie this time. Because every time I watch the movie, Mama finds a way to interrupt me. Even when I saw it in the theater, she calls me and won't stop calling me.
Oh my gosh. This
was a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
I pick at Mama for this because she just has this ability for this one movie alone.
Oh my gosh.
I have yet to watch this movie from beginning to end without getting interrupted. I do love you, Mama. Trust me.
I have a couple of years ago, I think this was like in a row, I had the worst streak of calling my younger brother in the most how do I say this nicely? interrupting him and his wife in doing something.
Oh yes, you've told me that.
Yes. Like 2-3 times in a row.
While they were
yes,
in privacy.
in privacy.
They were in private.
Yes.
We'll just call it private.
Yeah, let's call it private. Yeah.
This is a family show.
Yes, this is a family show. So yes, my little brother still hasn't let that down yet. I love you, Daniel.
Right. Anyway,
Yes.
now that we've done all that, do you want to go ahead and jump into this thing?
Sure.
Oh, you know what I haven't done yet?
What would that be?
I haven't killed my VPN. There may be a slight interruption. Give me just a second. Connections.
Uh-huh.
I knew something was wrong, and it would do it to me eventually anyway.
Never. Focus here. Focus here.
Focus on Samus.
Focus Samus. I want to call sandwich, but it's Samus.
It's not sandwich. And I actually have to stop this and go back out and come back in. Otherwise, the audio won't play on the soundboard. That's the issue.
Yeah, that would be an issue. Very much be an issue.
I don't know why the VPN stops it. It just does.
Weird.
And I think we're back on, but I'm not sure yet. Got to check into Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear us now?
I think we're there. Yeah, because we're both staring at our phones now.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, Deela, you are here, aren't you?
Mm.
Now? Awesome. Why don't we get started?
Yeah, quick question. What is the more definition of an orange cat?
Of an orange cat?
Orange cat.
An orange cat is the most loving cat imaginable. The problem is it has one brain cell that it shares amongst all the other orange cats in the world. I know this for a fact. I had an orange cat.
Okay.
Named after another famous orange cat from a sci-fi television series.
Sci-fi?
Sci-fi television series.
Oh.
That just had its reunion season from this week air its final episode.
Okay.
Star Trek. Next Generation.
Oh.
Data had a cat.
Oh.
Named Spot.
Oh, okay.
And she was an orange tabby. Now, she was played by many different cats, and I'm not going to claim which ones were male and which ones were female.
Right.
But the only reason we know she is a she is because in the episode where everyone got de-evolutionized, she gave birth to kitten lizards. No, she gave birth to kittens because that was how they learned. That's how they learned how to reverse it to make everyone human again. Hi, Kirk from Rushmore Show. How are you doing?
Hi.
We're about to get started.
Yeah.
Why? Now I have to ask the question. Why are you asking about orange cats?
I have no
Besides
idea.
Garfield.
Maybe it has something to do with Garfield.
I'm just curious. You brought up orange cats right before I went live.
You'll find out.
You're going to tell me now because I ain't going to be surprised by this.
I know. It's something to do with my introduction to you.
Yay.
He likes pasta. He's a cat.
Garfield likes lasagna. I'd have took that.
Yeah, exactly.
Heathcliff is what you said?
No.
But you said Heathcliff.
I didn't say Heathcliff.
Because he's knockoff Garfield anyway.
That's true.
Let's get started.
Got it.
Oh, they said Heathcliff. That's why I thought Heathcliff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No.
I don't know who you said.
No.
Other than he likes pasta. Anyway, let's just get started.
Yeah, let's just do this.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who thankfully hasn't been hit with water yet today. Welcome, Jacob. Deela, I have to ask, If I douse Jacob with water, is he going to turn into a fish monster? No, because you didn't
Really?
think about it.
Wow.
Well, don't get
Really?
any ideas now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, fine. Anyway,
Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who, just like everyone's favorite orange tabby, likes lasagna every once in a while. Welcome, Drew.
well, I do like Italian food.
Yes, don't forget.
Garlic bread, spaghetti, ravioli, all the other things they said in this movie that I can't remember the name of. Chicken Alfredo. I actually had Cajun chicken Alfredo for dinner tonight.
Really?
And I didn't think about the fact that we were reviewing a movie based in Italy until just this minute.
Bravo.
So there's that.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, tonight we are reviewing the movie Luca, a
Yes.
Disney Plus original Pixar film that it had a certain disease not occurred would actually may have been in theaters.
Thanks, COVID.
At some point, we're going to have exhausted, I hope, the movies affected by COVID.
Right.
But that day is not today.
No, that is not today.
It's not today at all. So yeah, we are reviewing Luca. You want to just go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free section?
Sure.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
This is both of our second viewings, I know for
Yes.
certain, because we actually reacted to this episode.
We did.
And it wasn't just a reaction. We did a full-blown
Oh my gosh.
audio commentary.
Yes, we
track
did. Oh
that
my
I
gosh.
believe is still only available through our Patreon. And honestly, don't listen to it. So yeah, I know we've both seen this
Yes.
at least twice.
Yeah, because I remember very distinctly, like sitting in your living room because at the time I didn't have internet at my house.
Yeah.
So I came over, watched it. Both were still complaining because COVID took this out of theaters, which it should have been in theaters. Let's be honest.
I'm still annoyed that Lightyear was the first Pixar film back in a theater.
Well, technically this movie went to theaters, but it was a very short run.
Technically, you're right. All of them, except for Soul,
Yeah.
it was in theaters for a very short run
Mhm.
because the Academy Awards did not change their rules about what's eligible for Academy Awards.
Seriously.
Which means they have to be in a theater for a short time, at
Yeah.
least. So yeah, this was in theaters for a very short time and just not around here. And honestly, I think at the time I wasn't interested in watching this in the theater again. I've already seen it one time.
Mhm.
But my thoughts might be different now. We'll see.
Right.
But yeah, it is a quieter movie, I think, than most Pixar films would be classified as.
In some regards, yes.
Especially when you consider this kind of is a monster movie, except
It
it's not
is.
a monster movie. It's a monster movie in the fact that there are monsters in the
Mhm.
movie and they are
Yes.
major characters. It's not a monster movie in the idea that them being monsters actually affects the plot, other than they have to keep their secret safe.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And
It's-
avoid
it's-
getting wet.
It's closer to a superhero movie in that regard than it is a
Yeah,
monster movie.
Agreed.
Except they're not superheroes. 'Cause
No.
all they have is swimming ability
Yeah.
and the ability to transform back and forth between monster form and human form.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's an okay movie. It's not my favorite Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I kind of put it off until the last minute last night to watch it because I just remember this being an okay film.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy my rewatch.
Yeah.
It was outside of the fact of the excitement that we had around the reaction and all
Mhm.
that, and doing the commentary, which I think raised the
Yeah.
my hopes for the film. And plus, it's Pixar. Up until that point,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to look at a Pixar trailer to know I wanted to see a Pixar film. Now, that being said, between this movie, Soul, Lightyear,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little. I feel like I should want to see a trailer now for a
Yeah.
Pixar film. Although I've seen now the Elemental trailer so many stinking times, I almost don't want to see that film because it's annoyed me so much. Because the theater where I watch movies, where me and mom and me to watch movies, has played that in front of every movie we've watched there for the last Well, since January.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure it'll be. This is not about Elemental, obviously, but this is a calmer movie.
Okay.
And I think that's what threw me off the first time. This time viewing it, I thought, okay, I'm kind of seeing the more how this works. Is it just a kind of like a Totoro movie in a way?
Oh, okay.
Not exactly that, but I got to thinking, it's like there's almost nothing that goes on here. And I thought that's the same. You could say the same thing about Totoro, and that's the first movie we both gave a perfect 10 to, and couldn't think of anything to dislike about it. So really, what am I saying? Is this? It's not as good as Totoro. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But I mean, if I didn't have a trouble with the more laid back there, why would I have trouble with it here? Either way, it's a fun movie. It's not in a terribly exciting film, but I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So again, my first viewing the film was watching here in Studio B. Studio B, ever since there again, I didn't have internet in my own apartment. Watching the film while doing a reaction, while doing commentary on it, which cements the memory of this film so well for doing it for the podcast, and thinking the entire time, thanks COVID for ruining theaters for us for the moment. But overall, I enjoyed the film the first time. Watching the second time, I appreciate what they're doing is for a film. I appreciate what they're the storytelling they're doing, because it is very, at its core, a Pixar film with a lot of inspiration from Hayao Miyazaki, and you could tell that, or Looney Tunes, about how the characters move and how they're animated. Overall, I enjoyed this film. It's not one of the high echelon Pixar films in my opinion, but it's a good Pixar film.
In my opinion, and this is solely opinion, take it for what it's worth.
Yes.
Which means, as far as I'm concerned, you can throw it in the trash and I won't care. I think this might be like the second weakest Pixar film for me. The only thing I consider kind of worse than that is A Bug's Life.
I just
don't like A Bug's Life.
That's one film I haven't seen yet.
It's not a bad film. It's just one I just don't like.
Fair.
I think Brave is a better film than this, which we need to review Brave at some point.
Agree.
But anyway, you ready to jump into the full spoiler filled section?
Yeah, let's spoil this thing.
All right.
Let's dive in.
I just had a mental flashback to an old Stephen Curtis Chapman song.
Yeah.
You know which one I mean?
Yes, dive.
Yeah. Anyway, the following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Luca. Listener discretion is advised. Luca was written and directed by Enrico Casarosa, and the other major thing he's directed was the Pixar short La Luna, which I don't remember which movie that was in front of.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think to check that part. I think that may have been in front of Inside Out.
You could be right on that one.
I could be wrong there.
Could.
Anyway, it was also written by Jesse Andrews, Simon Stevenson, and Mike Jones. Cast: we've got Luca Paguro being played by Jacob Tremblay, and he played a character named Bradley Trevor in Dr. Sleep. Jack Dylan Grazer. I just realized I did that in backwards. I apparently did not stay consistent when I was writing these down. Let me start that part over. Alberto Scarfano was played by Jack Dylan Grazer, and in the movie Shazam, he played Freddie Freeman. Julia Marcovaldo was played by Emma Berman, and in the upcoming Young Jedi Adventures, she's playing a character named Nash Durango.
Nash Durango. That's an interesting name.
Oh, it's a Star Wars name.
Of course. They're always very interesting.
Ercole Visconti was played by Saverio Raimondo. And in an Italian film I had never heard of, and all of his films were Italian films I had never heard of. But besides this one, obviously this one.
Hmm.
He played a character named Il Nero in something called Lo e Angela. I have no idea what that's about. Daniela Paguro was played by Maya Rudolph,
Okay.
and she is Aunt Cass in Big Hero 6.
Of course.
Massimo Marcavaldo was played by Marco Baracelli.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies if I'm mispronouncing these Italian names. But in something called Holy Silence, he played Pope Pius XII. Literally, I had a hard time picking some of these, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Paguro was played by Jim Gaffigan, the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, of course, Van Helsing in the Hotel Transylvania series of movies.
Yes.
You know, after they got bad.
Mm-hmm.
We still need to do the fourth one at some point.
We've done the first
we
one,
did
second
1, 2, and 3, and the short, but we have not done the fourth.
That's right. Yeah.
The one that
I'm
couldn't get
getting
Adam
2 and 3.
Sand-
I'm getting
well, we haven't done the one without Adam Sandler in it.
yes.
Anyway, and then Grandma Paguro was played by Sandy Martin, and she played the grandma in Napoleon Dynamite.
Film, I haven't seen that yet.
So you wouldn't know what I meant if I told you to get a dang quesadilla.
No.
Okay, then.
No idea.
She's that character who says that line.
Oh, okay.
She's in the movie for like 5 minutes at most before she's stuck in a hospital for like the rest of the movie. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts connections. Want to guess?
2?
Technically 3. Actually, technically it was more than that. I'm only claiming 3.
Oh, okay.
Because this was this is one of those where no one in the cast, and I only had crew members to pick from, and it was only Kingdom Hearts 3 I had a connection with.
Okay.
Because that was the one that actually has full orchestration.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the music department on all 3 of these guys, Mark Graham, George Doring, and Joe Zimmerman. Music department on both Kingdom Hearts and Luca.
Okay.
And that's all I've got for casts and such.
Okay.
What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So IMDb has a 7.4 out of 10. It's available to watch on Disney Plus. Production was Walt Disney Pictures and Pixar Animated Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studio Home Pictures, which is more. It was more recently when they changed that when they were put this over. Release date. So going into that, Luca was originally set to be in theatrical release in the United States on June 18th, 2021 by Walt Disney Studio Movie Pictures. However, on March 23rd, 2021, Disney announced the cancellation of the film's theatrical release, sad face, and instead was released worldwide on their streaming platform, Disney Plus, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks COVID. On that same date. Box office, it actually did have it did have a box office release. There's no budget anywhere I can see. They never released the budget for this film.
They probably didn't need to.
Probably not. So the film played 1 week theatrically engaging at a film we just reviewed at the El Capitan Theater. I think, either or. On June 28th through the 24th, 2021, and international markets where Disney Plus was not available, was released theatrically.
What movie was it released theatrically with? You said we had just reviewed the movie, but then didn't say what the movie was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting the theater in which Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released.
Oh,
yes. Two reviews up.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, apparently it was also released on June 13th in, of all places, Genoa, for a 3-day run, by a nonprofit organization, Media Cinema, to raise funds, and other entitlements for charities, which is interesting. So streaming, obviously this movie went directly to Disney Plus. According to the NASDAQ rating, following its opening weekend, Luca topped all original movies topped all original movies in its first day on streaming with 1.5 billion minutes viewing time. Nasler, I want to say Nasdaq, reports that the movie topped the weekly streaming top 10 list in June, the 14th through the 12th week, and ranked at number 2 on the all-time streaming rating after the television series Manifest on Netflix. The film continued to play well in subsequent weeks, logging in 1.15 billion minutes viewership between June 21st and 25th, equal to about 1.5 million total watches, the second most for an original film behind The Tomorrow War. Luca was the most watched stream film in 2021 with over 10.6 billion minutes viewed. So home release. Luca was released on and to the home. Can you start that over, please? So going to home release. Luca was released to the home market on July 1st, 2021, when it was announced that the Walt Disney Studio Home Entertainment would release Luca on Ultra HD Blu-ray, DVD, and digital on August 3rd, 2021 in the United States, and on August 23rd, 2021 in the United Kingdom. So that's all I have for info and stuff.
Alrighty. Getting into the summary. In the summer circa 1959, timid sea creature. It is 1959 during the summer. Timid sea monster child Luca Paguro herds goatfish off the coast of the Italian town of Porto Rosso. His parents forbid him from approaching the surface, feeling that he might be hunted by humans. One day, Luca meets Alberto Scarfano, a fellow sea monster child who lives alone in an abandoned tower on dry land. When Alberto encourages Luca to venture out of the ocean, he finds out that sea monsters turn into humans as long as they are dry. Luca begins sneaking out to meet Alberto, and they become friends, wishing to own a Vespa and travel around the world. Upon discovering their son's actions, Luca's parents decide to send him to live in the deep with his uncle Ugo. In retaliation, Luca runs away from home with Alberto to hide out in Porto Rosso. The boys run afoul of Ercole Visconti, the local bully and 5-time champion of the Porto Rosso Cup, a triathlon of swimming, pasta eating, and biking. When Ercole tries to soak Luca in a fountain, Giulia Marcovaldo, a young girl, stops him in hopes of winning the money needed for a Vespa. The boys team up with Giulia for the triathlon. Every time I see Julia's name, because it's spelled Gilulia, I keep wanting to say Guilia.
That makes sense.
But her name is Julia.
Julia.
Italian. Fun. Anyway, Julia invites them to stay at her house and introduces her fisherman father, Massimo, who holds grudges against sea monsters. Meanwhile, Luca's parents infiltrate the town to find their son. Julia and Luca bond over their love of learning, making Alberto jealous. When Luca shows interest in attending school, Alberto intentionally reveals his sea monster form to Julia to prevent it. Unwilling to give himself up, Luca feigns surprise to be with Julia, and a betrayed Alberto flees as Ercole's gang shows up to try and hunt them. Heartbroken, Alberto trashes everything in this hiding place. Shortly after, Julia finds out that Luca is a sea monster as well and sends him away for his safety. Luca heads to Alberto's hiding place in an effort to reconcile with him and learn that he was abandoned by his father long ago. Although Alberto declines to participate in the triathlon, Luca promises to win the Vespa to rebuild their friendship. The triathlon begins with Luca and Julia competing separately. Luca successfully completes the swimming race and pasta eating contest without revealing himself, but rain begins during the bike race. Alberto shows up to give him an umbrella, but Ercole knocks him to the wet ground, exposing a sea monster form, much to everyone's horror. Luca this time helps him, albeit revealing himself as well. They resume biking, with Ercole now trying to harpoon them for money, which is stopped by Julia smashing her bike against his. Luca and Alberto unintentionally cross the finish line, but turn back to help Julia. When Ercole and other townsfolk confront them, Massimo stands up for them and insists that they have won. A few of the townsfolk are revealed to be sea monsters as well, and Luca is finally reunited with his family. The humans welcome the sea monsters with the exception of Ercole, whose prejudice turns him into an outcast. His henchmen, who were fed up with his abuse, throw him into the fountain and abandon him. Luca and Alberto buy a Vespa, but Alberto sells it to get a train ticket for Luca, allowing him to go to school in Genoa with Julia. Luca's family, Massimo and Alberto, see Luca and Julia off at the train station, where they all promise to stay in touch. During the credits, Luca meets Julia's mother and attends school with Julia, whereas Massimo adopts Alberto as his son. Getting into the trivia for this, Porto Rosso can be seen as an advertisement on a travel agency window in Pixar's previous film, Soul. In the Marcovaldo kitchen, the brand of the stove is Caldino, which means little hot, while those of the fridge is Freddino, meaning little cold.
Yeah, okay.
Alberto's surname, Scorfano, is Italian for scorpion fish.
Yes.
It's commonly used to indicate that a person is not good looking. The favorite pasta dish in Marcovaldo's house is Trenette al pesto. It's the flagship dish of Genoa, the city where director Casa Rosa comes from. Trenette are a kind of flat spaghetti. Pesto is a sauce made out of basil, parmesan, pine nuts, garlic, and olive oil. Out of all the characters in the film, Luca has the largest eyes proportional to his head, since he is so curious and eager to take everything in.
That makes sense.
Director Enrico Casarosa stated that he drew inspiration from the films of Hayao Miyazaki when creating the film. The character Luca's original last name was going to be Porto Rosso, a nod to Miyazaki's Porco Rosso. In the final version of the film, the character's surname was changed, and the last name of the town was changed to Porto Rosso. Ironically, also a movie set in Italy. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, very true.
When asked why he chose Luca as the film's title, Casa Rosa said that he had based the film on his friendship with his childhood friend Alberto, but he couldn't just use in his own name, Enrico, and chose Luca because it's simple and it's pronounced well in America too. In an interview by the director, Enrico Casarosa indicated that the plot of a shy, reserved kid who befriends a nonconformist type who pushes him into becoming more open is directly based on his own experiences as a child. He also said to have spent as a kid summers at Cinque Terre, where the movie is originally set. So yeah, that's what I got for trivia. Jacob, what is your first like for this film?
My first like would be the animation, especially how the characters how they express themselves, how these characters express themselves, their animation. Because if you look at it, how their walk cycles, how they move, how they fall, has so much of the like Looney Tunes, like just kind of like not rubbery, but has this very fluidity of walking and like they move and everything. It's so I enjoy the animation for that. How the character movement is so wonderful, and definitely when Luca goes flying off his bike, it's just that head over heels, just flop, just like you'd see in old Looney Tunes shorts. The exact same way, like with a Hayao Miyazaki film or something like that. It's just like it's so beautifully well done. It's a different style of Pixar film that makes it its own, and it's set in Italy.
Yeah.
What's your first one?
I like the transformation sequences from the sea monsters to the humans.
Yeah.
That transition is done very well, and they did a good job of making it believable that the human models and the sea monster models were the same persons. But the way they animated that transition of the scales coming out and it was done very well, including those instances where they only could be half transformed because they only got a little bit wet.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated a lot of that because that was very interesting to see.
Yes, I agree.
What's your second like?
My second link would be the family, not family, but friendship dynamic between Luca,
Alberto and Julia.
Alberta and Julia. Thank you. I just forgot the names for a second there. My apologies. Yes, where it's like Luca is the very shy one. Alberto. Yes. Again, I am terrible with names.
Alberto is a town in Canada.
Yeah, Alberto. Yeah. Alberto is the outgoing, rebellious type, and then you have Julia, who's the another one of the outcasts and who wants to prove herself. And it makes this interesting trio of characters where they're all kind of learning and living through each other. And I find that dynamic so well poignant, where you have Lucas just wants to learn everything. He's very excited about everything. And so you have Roberto is just be like, he's just playing everything off ear. He doesn't really know what he's talking about,
right?
But he's got that suave, debonair. Be like, I'm giving enough gusto to make you think I know what I'm talking about, and you'll be like, you kind of believe him for a second, then you start realizing his flaws, and then be like, that makes an interesting dynamic. Then you bring in Julia, who is the girl who's living there for the summer with her uncle.
No, it's her father.
Oh, it's her father. Okay, her father.
Their parents apparently were split.
Yeah, so with their father, for some reason I thought uncle, but it's father. And it's just that interesting dynamic where Julia and Luca be like, start having their connection as friends, and be like, they're both interested in learning, and he's learning more and more about the world instead of what Roberto tells him. And that, with that dynamic broke up throughout in the rest of the film, where it's fused back together. And so yeah, that is just, it's like the character dynamics are so well done, and it's authentic because it comes across as kids. It doesn't come across as like, adults trying to write something it's not adults trying to be kids, but it's kids being kids. And the dynamics and the struggles and the heartbreaks and the awe of connecting with someone you're not used to, and being a little rebellious when you're more shy and timid, and the characters growing from one another. And I find that really, really, really interesting. What's your number 2?
The race at the very end of the film. The first time we watched this, I don't think I was sold on this being the climax of the film.
Yes.
At first. But in this time, I really felt like, okay, yeah, this does now, despite what it is, and I'm still kind of looking at it as an adult, looking at what these kids are considering like the most important thing in their lives, and going, you have no idea.
Yeah.
While that's still there, in the moment, I feel the importance of this in their lives, of how important it is to win this race, and how stressful it is with the fact that it didn't start out the way they wanted. They were hoping it would, and it's all kind of gone to pot. You get right down to it. But that everything from him walking on the sea floor to in the diver's helmet, the diver's suit, which I still don't think he could have made it all the way out to that buoy and back in that suit in that amount of time. I'm sorry. I don't think that's actually possible, but I kind of want to let it slide to some degree. I think he would have been better off if he'd have just accidentally, quote unquote, come up in behind a house, dried himself off real quick, and then went and ate the pasta, because he would have had enough time, I think, to pull that off. Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, he would have gotten in trouble for that. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing here. And the fact that you actually have to eat like a plate full of noodles before you then have to bike up a very steep hill
Mhm.
and then get all the way back down. And of course, Julia's never been able to pull that last part off
Yeah.
because she always blows chunks before she gets to the top of the hill.
Yes.
And this time she did not. Not that they didn't have a bucket for it.
Yes.
But I mean, the whole thing felt like this is the most ridiculous triathlon I have ever heard of. And it also feels like the kind of things I would see, the kind of sports, the type of races you expect kids to get into. Like,
yeah.
I've seen stranger things at church, to be honest.
Fair.
Seeing,
yes.
With kids' obstacle courses and such.
Yes.
And
yes,
this is not really that far from our,
true.
far big a distance from our perspective, but this it's a very big distance for them. So I get that.
Yeah.
But I really like how they, despite the fact you're looking, I like how it plays on two levels. On one hand, as an adult, I go, and this is ridiculous. This is just for fun. This is not the end of the world, kids. And then simultaneously, I get that perspective, and I get the other perspective of this is the most important thing we will ever do in our lives, and we must win. And so the fact that halfway through it, now they are accidentally turned into sea monsters and are now running for their lives just adds to that excitement, despite the fact it's a Pixar film. It's a Disney film. We know that they're not going to be hunted into the sea and will never be allowed to the surface again. We know this. The question is, how are we going to get back out of it? And it ended about the way I expected it to. So still, I liked how you felt the strain, and yet you also didn't feel the strain at the same time.
Yeah.
On that race. So yeah.
Okay. So
What's your third?
my third would be Vesta Sacrifice. Let me explain.
Vespa Sacrifice.
Vespa Sacrifice. Thank you. I knew it was going to.
By the way, you know what the word Vespa means in Italian, right?
No, what does it mean?
Wasp.
Wasp. Okay. Makes sense.
That's what the name of that motor scooter is based off. It means is little wasp.
It's and it sounds like a wasp.
That's the other reason it's named
exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
so
it's got a smaller. It's got like a very small motor. You don't actually have to have a motorcycle license to drive the thing.
Ooh, that's true.
But
anyways, so we had this goal with Alberto and Luca. Thank you. Why am I terrible with names? Alberto and Luca, their goal is to buy a Vespa, right?
It does not hurt your case that these are harder names.
Yes,
than most names. So
yes,
I think you get a pass.
Okay. All right.
Or more of a pass than usual.
Okay. But Alberto and Luca's ambition, their drive for entering the competition is to buy their Vespa and to travel the world and to understand everything that a little 10-year-old could.
Yes.
And they strive to be like, their whole goal again is to buy the Vespa. And they learn what a Vespa is. They're still infatuated with it. And like any little boy, it's like, oh my gosh, I learned about this car and I want this car, or I want this toy, or I want this or this or this. So your ambition becomes that, and your goal and your drive is that. So our characters, they win the race, and they Alberto gets they get the Vespa. It's not the best Vespa, but they get the Vespa. They finally get the Vespa. They finally get what they're dreaming for.
And it needs some work.
It needs some work. Needs some TLC.
At the very least, it needs new tires.
Yeah. So,
or a good patch job.
So the point I say with this is just like the willingness that Alberto is willing to give for how much he loves his friend, to give up the one thing he has been striving for this entire movie is the Vespa, in order to purchase the ticket for his friend Luca to go to school. I'd be like, watching it for the second time, I kind of I'd be like, I got emotionally choked up, and I was like, dude, that is the epitome of sacrificial, to willingly give up something that you treasure, something you've strived and longed and desired for your friend's opportunity to fulfill their dream. And I found that incredibly touching. That it was a very emotional scene, because that's when you are really good friends with somebody, I'd be like, you're willing to do stuff you normally wouldn't do for normal people unless you're like family or something like that. And I found that very touching that Alberto was willing to do that sacrificially, just like Christ did for us on the cross. Willingly gave up something he loved for a friend. So yeah, that was like the icing on the cake for this film, was that one moment where the whole everything came together to get that Vespa,
Right.
and then he gave it up for his friend.
Okay.
That was so touching. So yeah, Vespa.
My third like is it's Luca's gullibility to some degree.
Oh yeah. His innocence.
There's a lot of innocence he has.
Yes.
So he's trying to learn everything because he has a curiosity when it comes to learning. I get that, and I can see how being stuck herding goatfish would be not exactly intellectually stimulating. So when he meets with Alberto, and Alberto, despite the fact of absolutely knowing nothing, because how can he? He's never even been to town. He is very good at turning a story.
Yes.
And making up things. And Luca, bless his heart, believes every single word of it.
Of course.
To the point, I don't know if you caught this. There's a point where Luca gets knocked out by something.
Yeah.
And it does the whole, stars.
Yeah, he sees fish.
Yeah, he sees fish. You know why he sees fish?
Because he thought stars were actually
the stars were fish. Because that's what Alberto tells him.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's clever. That's very clever.
Well,
and then of course there's that dream sequence when they have launched their Vespa into space and they're flying among the starfish, pardon the pun, and the giant moonfish.
Yes.
And he goes to touch it and then turns back into a sea monster because, as we all know from Finding Nemo, you don't touch the butt. You still don't know what that means.
I've seen Finding Nemo.
Seen Finding Nemo.
I have seen Finding Nemo.
Okay.
It's been a very long time since I've seen Finding Nemo.
It's just when you touch the boat, we'll say it right the right way this time instead of the way they said it in the movie. You touch the boat or the underside thing of the thing you're not supposed to touch. Bad things happen.
Yes.
And in this case, you wake up and you're a sea monster because, and I quote, the sky leaked.
You know what this also reminds me of? The Little Mermaid.
I can see that.
Yeah, where Ariel will be like, doesn't know anything about the real world. And so like all the items she finds, and what does she? Scuttle is the expert about everything. Yeah. And he's like, I want to call him Alfonso now. It's not Alfonso, you goober. Alberto.
He is not Arthur Fonzarelli.
Alberto is giving him all this stuff he thinks is true, but
he has no way of knowing it's not. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I found those little parallels between like a Disney Pixar film and a Disney film.
Yeah,
about someone learning what it means to be on the surface.
Exactly, and how the world is not what they think it is.
Exactly.
But on that note,
yeah.
Now we got to talk about our dislikes.
Yes.
What's your first dislike for this film?
Oh my gosh, this is a hard one. I'll refer to you because I'm still working on mine.
Okay.
Yes.
My first dislike is our bully.
Oh, yeah.
You don't like him because you're not supposed to like him.
Right.
Granted, that should be like that kind of makes it sound like I'm giving this a backhanded dislike because of course I don't like him. You're not supposed to like him. This is like not liking Gaston or Scar. You're not supposed to, but you'll note if you go back to those episodes, I listed those characters under likes, not dislikes.
Yeah.
Because while I am not supposed to like Ercole,
yeah,
the fact is he's not even that interesting a villain.
Agreed.
If you want to call him a villain, I don't even think he technically even rises to the rank of villain. He's just annoyance.
He's more he is an antagonist, but not.
He's the antagonist of the film. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
and he does a good job of being a roadblock for our heroes.
Yeah,
but my issue really is the fact that this. I know he's a kid, and he really can't be that much of
Is he a kid?
He's 16. They said he was 16
Okay.
this
Gotcha.
year.
Okay.
Again.
That's
what they said.
Yeah.
Yes, but this year I need it. No, he's obviously an antagonist, and the thing is, and I know bullies usually don't really have a good reason for being bullies other than appearing to be popular or better than everybody else. I know that's kind of the whole shtick of the bully character. But the fact of the matter is, when he was finally defeated, okay. We have had villains in the past that were kind of so lame.
Yeah, agreed.
And I was still happy to see them get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
When he gets his comeuppance, I was like, dude, what are you still doing here? Go. We don't care about you anymore. Leave.
Yeah.
You are not important enough. You're not even that interesting a character. If you were not here, the only thing that wouldn't happen is you wouldn't be trying to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And obviously, everyone else has had it with you too. Even when his goons,
yeah,
you know, his goons giving up on him and pushing him into the pond or whatever. That should make me happy. That should make me excited. It's like, yes, you finally are standing up for yourself. I'm going, why didn't you do that years ago?
Yeah,
this kid is not just. A good villain is someone you either love to hate or you hate to love.
Yeah.
This is the third type of villain, which is not a good villain, and that's just annoying.
Yes.
You know who this villain reminds me of?
Who? That
ice cream man from 100% Wolf.
Oh, crap. Yes.
He is about that.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
That effective and interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't care about this kid. Even other Pixar films where they have obviously evil characters that you kind of are just glad to see gone by the end of the film, you kind of are looking forward to seeing how the hero is going to defeat them, rise above them, become better than them. I didn't feel that way about this character. It's like, these kids are already better than this kid.
Yeah.
He's a putz.
Yeah.
He's a guy who thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. And we know from the beginning he's not. He just happens to know a couple people. And as soon as it starts, by the end of the film, they're all going to leave him high and dry. And your hope is that maybe then there might be a turnaround. You might see your character rise above even their dislike of the kid and maybe befriend him.
Yeah.
But they don't even do that. It's like, no, this kid tries to kill them with the harpoon. Granted, that would put a damper on any relationship.
Yeah, it would.
And he's been an annoyance this whole time. But at the same time, it's like we don't get to revel in his defeats. We don't get to we don't get to revel in him being evil, and we don't even really get any satisfaction from him turning over a new leaf. This is a one-note villain. And I don't even really consider it. He's a one-note antagonist. And I'm disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Pixar's better than that.
I agree.
And having a one-note antagonist. Now, granted, maybe the story really didn't need anything more than that.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, because I know the way Pixar does stuff, they have 100 different ideas and it gets whittled down. And maybe this is just something that they took out for reasons of pacing in the story and it wasn't the focus of their story. But I just wanted better from this kid.
Yeah.
Either as an antagonist or to come around at the end and ask for forgiveness for what he's doing and then have the kids forgive him. If it's not one, it should be the other. And it's neither, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That this is just, he's an annoying antagonist and he learns nothing.
Yeah, I would agree.
And our characters don't get to learn anything from him. He's just someone they beat.
Yeah. He's literally just an obstacle in the way. That's all he is.
And I don't like obstacle villains.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to give me more to chew on. You got to give me a reason either to hate him or to love him. And you gave me neither.
Yeah. Yeah. My number one is the exact same. It's the annoying antagonist who just like you said, like all he does, he puffs and bloats himself out to be like, oh, I'm the greatest thing ever. And obviously you can tell he's not, but obviously he's won the race once or twice. And he's reveling over that victory, but he really has nothing. Be like he's going against much younger kids, and it's just like he's an annoying character that really just doesn't. He has petty goals. His ambition is just to win another race, and there's no real high drive. There's no, I want to do this. I want to do this kind of character.
I'm still not sure why he felt it was so important for him to win the race. Obviously, he's, even by his standards, he probably should be considering himself too old. He already has a Vespa, a nice brand new Vespa that obviously that money that prize money did not pay for.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it didn't.
No.
Not if all they could get at the end was that cruddy one.
Yeah.
There was some other money that went into that, even if that's 6 or 7 years worth of prize money that's been built up. That's no way he afforded that Vespa on the prize money. I don't understand his motivation.
Yeah, because I understand where,
other than he just wants to still be considered top dog in this little town, and apparently there's no other kids older than him.
Apparently,
there's no other teenagers in this town,
which is odd.
I can kind of see maybe there was this is 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
He would be 16. That would put him being born in 44,
approximately
ish. Heck, Italy. There should be a bit of a baby boom.
Yeah,
I think
that's just.
I don't know exactly how Italy fared right after World War II.
True.
Because I know they had to pay back some reparations,
right?
Obviously, but I would think the people, at the very least, there may have been more than a couple.
Yeah,
there should have been at least some kids that were in that. More kids in that town than.
Yeah, I agree.
Just him being the eldest, and then a bunch of 7-8-year-olds.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's not enough like older kids in this town. It's a bunch of like younger kids.
Granted, there's not a lot of adults in this
town.
No,
there's
but
not.
It's supposed to be a little fishing village in the side of nowhere.
Yeah, agree.
You're lucky you have enough people to even have this race.
Yeah, agree.
If you're being honest.
Yeah, but be like you have this character who is, his sole ambition is to win another race, no matter what, and he's the town bully that is just be like, he loves to annoy people because he has the clout. Be like, oh, I've won so many races. And he bullies his way through everything, and obviously the end result is what the end result is, so that he loses the race. Actually, I would listen to a podcast about true crime, and this guy, he's very similar to our villain, who was the town bully. He threatened people's lives, and the town went all vigilante on him. Let's just say that.
Now, I will say, to throw this movie a bone, we are looking at it from the perspective of adults.
Yes, we are.
For kids' point of view, this may not be as big a deal.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I still want someone to get their comeuppance. Mm-hmm. And this kid, all his comeuppances, nobody in town likes you, go away.
Yeah, that's it.
He'll get over that in a day.
Yeah. Move on to another village and,
Good night. Bulk and Skull are better bullies than you are.
Oh my, wow. Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
Anyway,
that's my first dislike. What's yours?
My second dislike. My second dislike is going to have to be the fact that the anglerfish dude, the one from the trench that was semi-transparent, and Luca had to punch his heart to keep it going.
Oh, yeah, the uncle.
Yeah. I like his design.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he exists. I hate that he's only in 5 seconds of this movie.
True.
And I mean, it does not. Granted, once Luca has escaped, has run away. I get why he's not in it at that point, but that still feels like you need a. I kind of wish the parents had brought him along, and we had to keep dealing with his heart stopping or whatever, so that it felt like there was more of a. If Luca and Alberto don't get the Vespa, that he might have to go, to to the bottom of a trench.
Yeah.
Make it feel like there's actually a more of a reason to go about this, because for the most part, Luca doesn't even know his parents are in town.
Yeah.
For most of the film. Now, granted, his parents are hilarious.
Yeah, agreed. They are
throughout this.
They
and
are.
How many close calls they get is kind of funny.
It is,
but I kind of wish it felt more like, oh, every time Luca turns around, there's he's almost like he maybe is scared of his uncle.
Yeah, I can imagine
through some nightmares or something, but we don't even get to see that. I forgot that character was in this film until we rewatched it.
That's true.
A lot of other elements I remembered before we going back to it, but I forgot that element exists, and that's because it exists for one scene, and after he runs away, it gets brought up that Lucas says, "Oh yeah, I was gonna have to go off with my creepy uncle to somewhere because that's why I ran away from home." But for the most part, other than that character was okay. A few weeks ago when we reviewed Fern Gully,
yes,
we had that big lizard that we barely talked about. That's the goanna.
Yes,
who's in the movie for what? One song and then goes.
Yeah.
And I believe on some parts of the internet they call that a big-lipped alligator moment.
Yes.
This creepy uncle was a big-lipped alligator moment. He existed for this one scene to give an excuse for Luca to run away from home.
Yeah.
From his perspective for real, but it didn't. I almost want him to be the secondary villain. Obviously, one that might say, "Oh, I understand. Yeah, we're not going that way," but help his parents. Look for his nephew. I would assume he would be wanting to do that.
You would think.
But he doesn't even do that. I don't want him to be a villain per se.
Yeah.
But he should be like, oh, this is something we're worrying about, because not only are we having to worry about his parents finding him, but now there's a third one. And the third guy, he's even creepier to look at. So he might actually be causing more trouble in town now that he's being seen, other than the weirdo adults who keep throwing all the kids in the fountain.
Oh, gosh, yes.
While playing soccer. I just wish there was more to it, and I kind of wish the grandma had more of a role.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just there's a lot of characters who are in the movie for like a short bit.
Yeah.
At the beginning and at the end, and the rest of the time it's like, because once we get to town, all the sea monster. I mean, those are the only two other sea monster characters, really. But outside of background characters, I just wish we had more of. I want all these quote unquote major characters to actually have more of a role in the film, even though they're not really major characters. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my second dislike.
I agree. Now, my second dislike is more like, help me if I'm wrong on this one. Just point out if I'm wrong. So the parents, again, the parents are hilarious. Yes. They're absolutely hilarious throughout the entire film.
Which I wanted to give a kudos to Jim Gaffigan playing the father, because I did not realize that was Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't sound anything like Van Helsing does, and he doesn't sound like his stand-up.
Oh, okay.
I've listened to a lot of Jim Gaffigan's stand-up. This character sounds nothing like him.
Oh, okay. So
he did a good job of messing with his voice.
So normally we have characters. What is their ambition? What is their drive in order to prevent someone from doing something? Right.
Right.
Okay. So with
Luca, granted, we know the parents are really worried about the safety of their son.
Yeah, they're obviously very worried about him, but we don't have a motivation. Why? Be like, obviously, it's like we don't want the humans or what do they call them in the films?
Land monsters.
Land monsters. We don't want the land monsters to get you. Okay, so we get that. Fair. But at the same time, be like, it's okay. But is there a story behind that? Is there something that
you're right? That is a dropped.
It's a
bit. Because obviously grandma didn't care. She apparently goes to town once or twice a week.
Exactly.
And so the parents didn't know about it.
Yeah, which is odd.
So why would grandma be going to town? And why would the parents not know grandma was disappeared for a while?
Exactly.
Where she went. I think grandma can go where she wants, but still.
But at the same time, you brought up a good point, because the idea that this is based on a big Italian family, correct?
Yeah. One assumes they
all know what people are doing.
What people do.
Yeah.
So why would grandma be fine going to town every once in a while, but now I don't know whose whose grandmother she is.
Yeah.
If it's the father or the mother, but either way, why does neither of the parents of the mom and dad, why are they scared?
Yeah.
Why are they scared of the land monsters when grandma's not?
Yeah, exactly.
What spooked them from ever going on to land?
Exactly. Give us that backstory. Give us what
I think we can imply, considering time period,
Mhm.
the war did that.
That could be a good factor.
But that's a theory.
Yeah.
The movie never states anything about fighting or anything. It's just, they're scared of land monsters because land monsters fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get that, but then why is the grandma not spooked?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of it's understanding where like how I put it. Hold on one second. All right. Being clammy parents, being like just like we're trying to
word.
Yeah, sheltering parents.
Sheltering parents.
Yeah, sheltering parents.
We're getting real punny in here tonight.
Yes. So again, like when you're growing up, you like your parents are kind of shelter you a little bit. Want to make sure you're not completely bamboozled by the world, which is a good thing in some cases. But it's be like the parents. We don't really get we understand the parents' motivation of we want to protect our son, but at the same time, I would love to see like a little more deeper backstory into why, instead of just be like, oh, the monsters on top are just they want to do this and this. But if they could have gave us a little more story, like maybe like Finding Nemo, or like heck, most Pixar films give you a better yeah, I wish they would give us a more backstory on why the parents are very concerned, because obviously the grandmother has no problem with it, because we learned that later. So I wish that we would give more backstory, because that would be a little more. It's like, okay, did a relative they died? Did they get pulled up by the fishermen, and so that's why they're so scared of them? Because it's just like the motivation is like, okay, we want to protect her son, but what's a deeper reason?
I mean, I get why the humans are scared of the sea monsters.
Oh yeah, because they're sea monsters.
They're sea monsters. They probably haven't seen sea monsters in years, but there's been sightings. So I get why they're spooked.
Yeah,
I don't know why the sea monsters are spooked of the land monsters, considering they all know they actually exist and have seen them on a regular basis.
They know they're real.
And I get maybe it's supposed to be like touching on just being scared of people different from yourself.
Yeah,
maybe the thought process behind it, but
possibly
that doesn't really fit, considering they can go up to they can go up to land, dry off, and then essentially be human.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a little weird. So yeah, I wish they would have fleshed that out a little bit more, because like you have Finding Nemo with her, with the mother. Be like, it would have been nice, but like maybe like a son or a daughter or someone else got scooped up by a human or something like that. So now they're definitely afraid of it.
Yeah.
Minus the grandmother has no fear about nothing. It's just again weird. So yeah, that's my second dislike. What's yours?
My third dislike is kind of based on that, and it's just the idea that there are elements of this film that are stated. They are pretty much you see them reacting at the time, and then it like goes away with like almost no one noticing it anymore. You mentioned the fact that the sea monsters are scared of the land monsters. That's an element, but we can see how that gets kind of cleared up as the longer the sea monsters are among the humans. They come to understand that they're not really different people, that different of people, and that's true of the humans being scared of the sea monsters. So we get to see some of that, but then you get things like Julia's dad. He pretty much had declared revenge on sea monsters, because supposedly
No.
the sea monsters took his arm.
Yeah. That's a motivation.
That's a decent motivation for wanting revenge. I mean, that's enough for classic literature when you consider like Captain Ahab or Captain Hook,
yes,
and things of that nature. So I mean, that's not out of the realm of imagination. And granted, for most of the film, he doesn't seem like an angry man. Like, and you kind of get the suspicion that, you know, he knows what the kids are, what Alberto and Luca are. But honestly, his turn at the end where he says, "Yes, I know who these boys are. They are the winners of the race." It's like, shouldn't you be the first to have to deal with this fact? Shouldn't I see more
vile coming from him?
More having to deal with it, even if he knew about it beforehand.
Yeah.
Let us see that he already knows about it and is dealing with it, but also is not wanting to maybe worry his daughter Julia, since these kids seem to be decent people, even though they're these horrible sea monsters.
Yeah.
And have him let us see the journey of him coming to terms with the fact that he understands that these are just normal people. And the fact is, at the end of the movie, everyone is fine with the sea monsters.
Yeah.
Except for, of course, our villain, who's just an annoyance.
Yeah.
We never really get to see the journey of anyone who really should hate the sea monsters with every fiber of their being.
Yeah.
And turn around, and the only person who really fits that bill, well, there's two people who fit this. Well, no, only one, because even our annoyance of an antagonist only wants to kill the sea monsters for the reward money.
Yeah.
Which I get, but it's still like, I still don't like you. You're still not that interesting a character. But the father, that would be an interesting story to see him having to deal with the fact that, they're sea monsters, but they're good kids. They actually help me find all these fish, despite the fact that's got to be really weird from their point of view, helping a human get all these fish that they're going to they would feel weird about eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Also feeding a fish to his cat that's on the boat.
Yes.
This guy could have had a bit more of a story going on where it's like, because obviously we are worried about him finding out throughout most of the movie, but he knows by the end of the movie and does not care, or at least doesn't show that it's even a big deal to him.
Yeah.
Granted, by that point, he's maybe already kind of got that relationship where, he's going to adopt Alberto during the credits.
Yeah.
So maybe he's already on that part of the journey, but we don't get to see any part of that journey.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, where he didn't ever show emotion. But that was the joke. His emotions were constant and it never showed.
Yeah.
He maybe dealt with worry and stuff, and it just didn't show because of the way he was a very stoic person. This guy doesn't feel stoic from the beginning, but then we never see his journey. I feel with like the guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, we kind of can see his journey.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there. This guy's like, you're kind of told at the beginning, I hate sea monsters and I'm going to kill one. And at the end, it's like, yes, they're sea monsters and I don't give a care.
Yeah, there's
I don't
no
see
growth.
how he got to that point.
Yeah, there's no growth as a character, except be like
it's a growth spurt at the last second, and it's like, if you gave me more with him, I maybe could do this. But the fact is, outside of the fishing scene, the guy's barely in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is weird.
Which is understandable. It's about the kids, but at the same time,
right? But I mean, Luca's parents are in the movie more than he is. As humans.
Yes, I agree.
Not just the part at the beginning where it makes sense that they would be there, but as humans, they're there and they are doing more than he is doing. Because except for the fishing scene and him happening to be around and cooking and such, he's given such an introduction that you think, this is going to be a bit of stress that we're going to have to, that the characters are going to have to deal with throughout the rest of the movie, because they're going to be hiding who they are from him. And I kind of want him to come to the realization, us know that he's come to the realization what these kids actually are. See him deal with the emotional turmoil of these kids being around his little girl that he's protective of.
Yeah.
We do see at the very end he's very protective of her.
Yeah.
have him come to the realization that these kids are still kids, even though they're sea monster kids.
Yeah.
They're actually good kids, and there's a chance that if these are good, if these are just like his daughter, then they're adults that are just kind of like they are.
Mhm.
They're all just scared of each other, which is kind of the point of the
Fair.
film.
Yeah. Like
But we never
overcoming
get to-
biases.
but
Yeah.
we never get to see the journey. It's just like we get the introduction. He's an angry man who wants to kill sea monsters
Mhm.
while he's fishing. We get the scene where they go and help him catch the fish, and yeah, he's happy at the end of it. But who wouldn't when you come home with fish so high they should be sinking the boat?
Mm-hmm.
And then we never get to see the rest of his journey the rest of the way. I'm sorry, I can't believe this character is going to immediately be fine with these kids being sea monsters just because they happen to get him a lot of fish.
Yeah.
I need more than that.
Well, it's
I want more than that.
yeah, I would agree with you.
Granted,
There needs to be more explanation
I
of it.
have to say, I'm still looking at this as an adult. For kids, this may not be an issue, but Pixar is better than this. They're good at one of the things. I kind of hold Pixar to a higher standard.
Okay, fair.
Because Pixar is usually very good about playing to both the kids and the adults in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like they played more towards the kids in
Fair.
this one. And that kind of bugs me a little.
Fair.
I want them to play more to the... and it's not like I'm wanting like a whole subplot. I'm wanting scenes. I'm wanting moments
Mm-hmm.
where it's understandable. It's like, oh, I see how he's making this turn. Give me a point where he's like fighting with himself. It's like, oh, they're sea monsters. I want them, but oh, they're actually good kids and they're not really that bad. And
Yeah,
give me a moment like that.
he's fighting his biases.
Right. Give me that. I don't really see him fighting his biases at
Mhm.
all. Like
Yeah.
you put it. It's more like, I hate sea monsters.
And it's that just
hour
snap.
later, oh, they're sea monsters. They won the race.
Oh, they're
Yay.
good. Yeah, they're good kids.
They're good
Oh.
kids. It's like, and that's just the most prominent example
Mhm.
of this. We have an element introduced in the story that feels
Yeah.
like it's important and is never touched on
Yeah.
again. It's like, anyway,
Yeah.
what's your
Get
third
it.
dislike?
My third, like, there again, this is not this has this has nothing to do with the film in general. It's the fact that we didn't get to see this in theaters. But like due to COVID restrictions, and obviously COVID was a real thing and it still is. That hundreds
COVID's never going away.
never going away. It'd be like it's killed hundreds of thousands of people. Now some of those
it's
numbers
just-
might be inflated, but yeah.
It's like the flu. It's
Yeah.
just going to be. We're still dealing with what is arguably the disease that caused one of the worst pandemics in history.
Yeah.
From 1929, 39,
1918.
1918.
Yeah.
So
Spanish flu.
Spanish flu, and that's still the flu we fight to this day.
Yes.
And we just have another thing with the flu now. It's just we call it COVID-19 instead of the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Yeah. But
It's not going away, folks.
no, it's not. It's not going to go
just
away.
moved into the background where it's not
Yeah.
in our face.
Yeah, it's gonna be a seasonal thing now on. But just the fact that we did not get to see this movie in theaters, that COVID restrictions as they were, give or take if you don't like them or whatever, restricted this movie from coming to theaters, which is really, really sad. I would have loved to have seen this in theaters because the last movie we saw from Disney was
From Pixar Onward.
was Onward.
And we weren't sure we were getting into the theater when we went to
That
see
is true. That is so
'Cause
true.
We did a reaction to that, and it was the last
Mhm.
theater
Mhm.
reaction we got to do
Yeah.
until Raya.
Yeah, Ryan.
Every other film reaction we did in that time period was streaming.
Yeah. Wonderful time we lived in.
God, we're not in it anymore.
Yeah, amen to that. But yeah, I really wish we would have been able to see this movie in theaters. Thanks, COVID. But yeah, that's my third dislike. I would love the experience of watching this theater because how vibrant this movie is and
Mhm.
how energetic this movie is. The animation in this movie is like Pixar animation is always good.
Yeah.
Very good. It's just my deep desire was to watch this movie in theaters. And maybe someday we'll be able to at some point. Maybe someone will put it in theaters and finally be able to watch it. Maybe.
At this stage, there are three Pixar movies that I've not seen in theaters. Four. There's
Yeah.
four.
Luca,
Soul, Turning
Turning
Red,
Red,
Cars 3.
Cars 3. You didn't see I thought Cars 3 was in theaters.
It was in theaters.
Ah,
I didn't get around to watching it.
oh, okay. I've heard Car 3's wasn't any good anyway.
I've heard it's different.
But either or, that is my third dislike.
There were too many movies coming out at that time, and I was very busy at that time.
Fair.
So
Fair that happens.
That's why my my streak is broken right now.
It happens. So yeah, be like COVID-19, you ruined a chance to watch a movie in theaters.
Heck, I saw Planes in theaters, and that's not even technically a Pixar film. That was a Disney Toon film.
Disney Toon film.
The only Disney Toon they did based off a Pixar movie.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. What is your third dislike?
I already mentioned it. Just remember, I was going first on the dislike.
That's right. You were.
Which means we need to rate this thing.
Yes. What do you rate it?
I'm giving it a 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
I don't hate this film.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. This film is connected to a stressful time in all our lives,
Mm-hmm.
at least from my perspective. So that's always going to put a pall over this film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie I understand at the time why it didn't go to theaters.
Yeah.
Because Pixar would have wanted an exciting movie to go back into theaters too, and this is not an exciting film. This would have been a great one for before COVID to come out in theaters.
Agreed.
But when you're looking for the first Pixar movie to go back in theaters, this isn't it.
And you pick Lightyear,
especially since Turning Red was right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I thought I was going to hate Turning Red.
Yeah,
and I love Turning Red. That was just a fun movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Lightyear, there's too much pandering to politics.
Yeah,
among other problems.
Yeah,
but yeah, I understand why this one didn't go to theaters under the circumstances. Even though I would have loved to seen it in the theater. And as much as I said earlier, this feels a lot like the more calmer Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah,
and it's a good reason. It's kind of inspired by it. But I don't feel like this has that level of quality that a Studio Ghibli film might have. And I can't tell you why that is.
I get that.
Other than Pixar has not. This is like the only quote unquote quiet Pixar film.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't have that magic that a Miyazaki film
doesn't have the magic that a Ghibli film has.
Yeah,
and it's somewhat missing some of that Pixar magic. And I can't tell you why it's missing. I'm assuming it's because it was made during COVID.
Yeah,
and that caused just some issues in the filmmaking in Pixar's filmmaking process that just drained it of its magic to the point where it's like it's not as good as I want it. It's not a bad film, and that's why I'm giving it 7.5.
I got you.
But it's just not as good as it could have been.
Fair.
What's your rating on this?
My rating is going to be a solid 8. I enjoyed the film for what it is. It's very vibrant. It's a very animation wise, it's very beautiful. The homage to Hayao Miyazaki films and the old Looney Tunes shorts, and the style in which they do the characters movements, the character motivations, the character relationship dynamics, and all these other wonderful things about this film are great. But they're, like you said, some of the motivations are a little bit weird. The our villain is a very bland and boring, forgetful villain. You just want him to go away, kind of villain. There's no real thrust of danger when it comes to a villain. He's not there. And again, one of the points you talked about with the
I rambled on him about him a little, but
yeah, the parents' motivations, there's a lot of the reasoning behind a lot of things. We don't really, there's not a whole lot of meat behind it. It's just it's just there. And I really wish they would have invested a little bit more time, gave it a little more of that pizzazz, put a little more pizzazz into the story, giving, fleshing things out more, because heck, they did it better in Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, and I do agree with, but there's something missing about this film that doesn't quite give it that Studio Ghibli magic or Miyazaki film
or Pixar magic.
or Pixar magic, somewhere in the middle. Be like it's good, but it's missing that special sauce.
I think I have a good analogy for what it is. This is vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
Vanilla ice cream is not bad.
No.
If vanilla ice cream is all you can get, none of us are going to complain about it.
Exactly.
But vanilla ice cream is a lot better when you throw in like strawberries, or chocolate syrup,
or peanuts,
or some sort of something you combine into it. By itself, it's fine, but with other things put on top of it, it gets better.
Yeah,
it's a good base,
and
it's fine by itself, but it could be so much better if you throw in a little bit of this extra.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good analogy.
That's
8.
Next week, we are going to be, if I can get to it, getting there. Next week, we are going to be reviewing another movie from our very first year.
Yes.
A rewind episode on Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker.
And I think we should, I
still would love to know what kind of name is Bonk.
But Bill, I did a little research beforehand. The Little Mermaid is still coming out next week,
so we'll have to figure out how we're doing the reactions for that.
Exactly, because I know me and Ashley are going to go watch it. I know that.
Okay, so join us next week for that. I'm going to play the bumpers for the intermission, and when we come back, we are going to be talking what we've been watching, some stuff in the news, and then of course some X-Men.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Untold Podcast, which is a speculative fiction podcast using the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out the Untold Podcast at theuntoldpodcast.com to listen and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, I found out recently they may be coming out with a new episode finally soon after their hiatus. Woo. So, woohoo!
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Melanie Dubois.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
Okay, looking at our chat, we did have some chat going on.
We got some chat
while
going
we
on.
were in our
Chatting.
review. Kirk from the Rushmore Show says all of those were okay, but not terrible. My kids loved Luca a lot. And then Artsy Steph said, Luca, I adore that movie.
It is adorable. I agree.
And she also said, traditional races like cheese rolling down a hill and folks chase it. I've heard of this.
Yes, I've also had tire races. Those are not fun.
Kirk also says, I thought you meant you saw Stranger Things at church. No, thankfully not.
That sounded like it sounded like you said that, but it actually
I
didn't.
said I have seen some Stranger Things
Yeah,
at church. But anyway.
youth groups are interesting. Let's say that.
Artsy says the true villain is the lack of parental supervision to keep Hercule from terrorizing folks. There are only 3 parents mentioned besides grandma, and 1 dad left.
Oh my gosh.
You're not wrong.
It's
But
Captain
still-
Roy.
But still, Hercule is an annoying
Yes,
brat.
annoying pain.
And I just wanted him to be a better annoying brat.
be a better villain. Be a better villain.
That's all it comes down to. So yeah, that's what's going on in our chat while we're reviewing. Why don't we go ahead and jump back in?
Yeah, let's jump.
So, Jacob, I've got a question for you.
What have you been watching?
Okay, so what have I been watching? So I have continued my journey into the world of Inuyasha. I think I'm like almost halfway through season 2. There again, I'm watching these on Netflix. I think they have all 5 seasons, 5 or 6 seasons. I think it's 7 seasons altogether. And the final act, which is another series.
Technically, it's a different series, even though it's the last season.
Yeah, technically.
But there's a large gap between the original run and the last season.
I agree. So I'm watching that. There again, when Inuyasha originally came out on Toonami, I really enjoyed it. There again, it's a movie, it's a show designed for teenage drama, the whole bit. Be like, I just like the action. I love the storytelling in this show. I think it's great. An odd one, because I remember someone talking about Pokemon at some point. I was like, I was on Netflix. I think I just got done watching Inuyasha, and I saw, what was it, Indigo League Pokemon?
Yeah, that's what the first section is now referred to as.
Yeah, so I watched
the original Got to Catch 'Em All Pokemon.
Yeah, so I watched that first episode. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, because Ash should be like, he's this 10-year-old. Why in the world would you put a 10-year-old out in the world by themselves to go catch Pokemon? I do not understand this. Like, it's this idea of parental irresponsibility. It's like, oh, that's what your job in the world is, to go catch Pokemon at 10 years old.
Like the Digidestined or any better.
Well, they got sucked into the world. They really didn't have a choice. These kids have choice. They have agenda.
This is part of their culture. Every child leaves home at
apparently 10. At 10 years old.
The fact that in all the games, only one of the protagonists actually has a father.
Oh, okay.
Who's still alive, because he's actually a gym leader.
I don't know. I just be like,
you're not poking anything that hasn't already been poked.
I know.
So much it's a bloody pulp.
Yeah, it's been mauled to death.
We all know how weird that is. But Barrett, I don't know how far you only watched one episode.
Yes, I watched one episode.
You don't know how things go after that at any point.
No.
You don't know about Ash's mom's Mr. Mime.
No.
Okay, we're gonna leave it at that.
So speaking of
I will give you some horrible rumor mongering after we get off, because I can't bring it up on air.
My gosh. So I saw this video or
just think about where Ash's eyes actually came from.
Shush. Shush. Thank you very much. Oh, Christian Love. Hush. So I found this real shush
on that show.
Shush.
Just remember, the only time experience points was ever mentioned in the show was when Meowth gave all his up to learn how to talk.
Snarf.
Anyway, sorry.
But anyways, I saw this reel on Instagram and I die laughing, because I'd be like, I didn't realize that how the relationship between Ash and Misty, I believe it is like they just do not like each other at all.
Yeah, because Ash stole her bike to save Pikachu.
That is true. In that first
the bike got struck by lightning and was destroyed, and that's why she tags along with Ash in the beginning, because he owes her a bike for the money to buy a new one.
That is fair. But oh my gosh,
that is the entire reason she's there.
That is true, because it brings a different dynamic to the characters. But I saw this one video where it's just more like anytime be like they're talking about like beautiful girls or something like that, then Ash just digs at her about it. You're like,
oh, like they're any better to Brock with all the Nurse Joys and all the Officer Jennies he's wanting to date.
But there again, be like, I only watched the first episode. I've seen the first movie. I saw the remake of that movie, and be like, I like those. Those are interesting. There again, if you want to go see our review of the first film, what was it? Pokemon the movie.
Pokemon the first movie,
Movies,
Mewtwo versus Mew.
Yeah.
It's actually got a super long name.
Yeah, that is a very go and check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. So I watched that. We went and reviewed Suzume in theaters. They're gonna thank you, Ashley. Love you for coming out and hanging in with us. And we watched that. The reaction should come out in a couple of days.
I'm gonna try Sunday.
So then, as most people know, Power Rangers gets brought up a lot in this show sometimes. So, as probably most people know who listen to our podcast know that Netflix was coming out with the special Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Forever. It was coming out
always.
Once and Always. Was coming out on Wednesday. And my thought was, you know what? I'm gonna get up early. I'm gonna watch this special. Just absorb it because we know the internet loves to spoil everything.
Oh, wait till we get to my thing.
Oh,
I'll get to talk about all the stuff.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Let's just say I had a lot that I was worried about getting spoiled this week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I've seen the spoilers on what you're talking about. But yeah, watch that. Really, really well done. And I think I've listened to a few podcasts like normal, YouTube like normal. I'm a true crime fan, so I just watch anything true crime or it's history related. But I think other than that, I might be like, hey, I watched this, but that's all I got. What do you got?
Well, on top of Suzume and Power Rangers Once and Always, season finale of Mandalorian was this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was successful in dodging those spoilers. Not that there were many that could come up.
So how was Grogu and Friends Part 4?
The season is actually pretty decent.
Okay.
Especially if you've watched all of the stuff in Clone Wars and Rebels dealing with Bo-Katan Kryze. I had to think of her name.
Okay.
And all the other stuff dealing with the Mandalorians. If you are caught up on that story, this actually has a lot going for it because she's a major character in this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best Star Wars I've seen, but it was pretty decent. It was fun. I'm actually curious where it's going to lead next season, or technically in Ahsoka, since that's this year. So that's Grogu and Friends season 5.
Because we know Grogu and Mando are going to show up.
Ahsoka's already shown up in Grogu and Friends in season 2 and 3.
Yeah,
and season 4 was already hinting at where Ahsoka, the story that we've seen in the trailer for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So it's Grogu and Friends season 5. I'm sorry, it is.
And apparently they're going to make a movie at some point with all this.
That's what Dave Filoni's leading to, because all the Dave Filoni Star Wars stuff is now leading towards a setup for a movie he is making. So we will find out what that is at a later date.
So the Grogu movie.
I want this Grogu, a Star Wars
movie.
Actually, we must be fair now.
Okay.
Din Grogu, a Star Wars story.
Din Grogu.
Got to use his full name.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway.
So what else you been watching more related to Star something?
So if you remember last Friday when we were recording our review for Snow White,
yes,
I mentioned that I had finished season 2 of Star Trek Picard.
You did.
And had watched the first 2 episodes. By Monday, I was caught up.
Wow.
To episode 9.
Wow.
It was that good. It's like it got me, and I was just there for the rest of the time we were there. The times I wasn't reasons I wasn't watching it is because I had something else planned that I had to be at.
Fair.
Sunday was actually very hard. Because between
Sunday
morning,
potluck,
and then us going to see Suzume. I
Mhm.
didn't get to watch any Picard that day,
Mm.
and I had 2 episodes I needed to watch before the spoiler machine from the week before was going to catch up to me. And dang YouTube thumbnail, you spoiled it. Thankfully, while I was spoiled on the big reveal,
Yeah.
it didn't really lessen the impact
Oh, okay.
that much.
Yeah. I've also seen the
I'm going-
spoilers of that. I'm like, really?
I'm going to, when we get done, before you run off,
Yeah.
I know you don't know anything about Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, I've watched a little bit of
I'm
Generation.
going to make you watch the 2 scenes that made me go,
Okay. Okay, then.
yeah, it's-
Picard season 3, right?
Picard season 3.
Okay.
You're never going to catch up to it. You're never going to watch it, probably.
Who knows?
You might,
Maybe.
but maybe not. Anyway. So yeah, episode 10. I watched that too, and I posted on, I think, in Devoted Geek Life
Mm-hmm.
that Star Trek Picard season 3 was everything I'd been wanting out of Star Trek Picard since it first aired. But we didn't get it till now, and it didn't just give me what I wanted, it gave me more.
Yeah.
Things that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
but never expected we'd actually get.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Star Trek The Next Generation fan, while I understand why Picard season 1 and 2 are a little not as enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
even though you should give it a shot anyway.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to if you want to understand a couple of plot points for season 3, because it does take place after season 1 and 2. So you kind of need to know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You owe it to yourself
Mm-hmm.
to watch season 3. Even if everything's already been spoiled for you,
Yeah.
I don't care. You need to go watch it.
Yeah. To find out what that was referring to.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't even know what I kind of know what he's talking about in a way, but I don't know everything. So
I watched that. Trying to think if I actually watched any anime this week, because I did have some time between episode 9 and 10.
wow.
How
How long are those episodes? Like what? 30
an hour
minutes?
long.
They're hour long.
It's a 10-hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. Grogu, every episode of Grogu and Friends this season,
Mm-hmm.
35 to 40 minutes long.
Okay.
About what you expect.
Yeah.
Every episode of Picard was at least an hour long, and it's packed. You don't even realize the hour has passed.
Wow.
Half the time we got to the end of an episode, and I was like, oh, we're at the end of the episode. I didn't realize we were that close.
Okay.
Because there's, other than it does feel like we're leading up to a cliffhanger. It's a good show.
Okay.
It's a very good show. I want to say I watched some anime this week, but I can't think of what the show was. Oh, I restarted Konosuba.
Oh. Oh my god.
You know which one Konosuba is. The one about, it's an isekai,
Yeah.
about a guy who gets reincarnated in another world. He can bring whatever he wants, so he chooses the goddess who's sending him to that
Oh
world.
yeah, that's Konosuba.
And she's useless.
That is true.
And he gets
Konosuba.
teamed up with another girl
Yeah.
who is an archmage, but only knows one spell, explosion. And when she uses it, she then has no more energy the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then there's darkness.
Oh
The
gosh.
Crusader,
Oh my
who
gosh.
really likes being a tank.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
And the reason I was rewatching it is because somehow when we were watching that at Chase's,
Mm-hmm.
I missed the last half of season 1.
Really?
I don't know how that happened.
Hmm.
So I am finishing up season 1, then I'll watch season 2, and then I'm going to watch the prequel season that's running right now.
Hmm.
That's about said girl learning explosion magic.
Oh gosh.
And
All
apparently an entire school of hers.
Oh no. Oh crap.
But possibly some of them actually being decent wizards.
Okay.
Anyway. So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Okay.
So, Jacob, what do we got in the news? Hang on.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealit. And going into this week's news. So I mentioned that, what was it? HBO Max Twitter account announced that they are doing a new Looney Tunes story with Looney Tunes Looney University.
Oh, Tiny Toons.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Tiny Toons. I said Looney Tunes, but Tiny Toons.
I mean, it's connected, so I get it.
It's connected. There again, Tiny Toon Adventure was a show that came on when we were kids. I love Tiny Toon Adventures. So to see it's coming back on HBO Max, or I think they're going to retitle it Max. It looks interesting. They did a trailer kind of promoting the Looniversity. That was fun. That was interesting. So yeah, I will remind me to post that video, the trailer on the Facebook page.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's all that came out. Be like there again. Suzumi came out. Suzumi recently came out. We're doing a reaction to that, or we did a reaction. It just didn't be put out. And obviously, this is not animation related, but we did mention it before with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always. That came out on Netflix. Other than that, I
have a tangential news item.
Okay, what's that?
I say it's tangential because it's not technically, it is connected to an animated movie that we have seen, but this is an issue that dates back to to early Mario stuff.
Okay.
In the Japanese version, one of the characters is getting renamed.
Really?
Yes. The character of Spike, the Wrecking Crew owner that was in the movie was making fun of Mario for quitting their job and being plumbers. Yeah, he's from the game Wrecking Crew. Well, in Japan, his character's name is Blackie.
Blackie.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And there are a lot of
problem with that. I see no problems with that whatsoever. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Especially since he's as white as both me and you.
Yeah.
And some of it's not just in Japan where he has that name. There are some other of the more Asian countries that took that essentially it's that name, but pronounced in their
language,
accent, their way of saying the name. All of those are now officially, especially with the movie, since the movie is bringing the character back in the spotlight. This is the impetus. All those characters that character's getting renamed completely to Spike across the board.
Oh, okay.
Just a weird little
that is weird
story that came out it's happening because of an animated movie.
Interesting.
Granted, Spike has not been seen since Wrecking Crew 98.
Okay.
In 1998.
Wow.
So you can tell how important it was for this character to get renamed. Because I doubt we're getting a Wrecking Crew game anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, the game has been re-released on like Nintendo Online service, so you can play the old NES game and stuff like that. But yeah.
Right.
Just a weird little moment.
I agree. So yeah, that's all I have for the news.
All right. So we should probably jump into our X-Men.
Or into the Savage Land.
Finally.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-funky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming
and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
Season 2 season finale reunion, parts 1 and 2 is what we're reviewing tonight. Part 1 came out on February 12th, 1994, while part 2 came out on February 19th, 1994. Both episodes were directed by Larry Houston. Part 1 was written by Len Wein and part 2 by Michael Eden. In these two episodes, Xavier and Magneto finally make their way back to Xavier's plane, only to be ambushed by some mutates. The new ruler of the Savage Land is revealed, but not until they make a new ally. Morph sends a message to the X-Men revealing his location, which provides an encounter with Mr. Sinister and his group of nasty boys.
These guys again.
The X-Men are now in the Savage Land and are powerless like Xavier and Magneto, which leave the X-Men open to being experimented on by Mr. Sinister. The only ones left to rescue them are Kazar and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Once everyone regains their powers, the Savage Land is restored. But what does the future hold for the Savage Land now? Guest cast for this includes John Blackwood as Hairbag. Gotta love that name.
Yes.
Robert Boxdale as Sauron, Kazar, and Brainchild. Chris Britton as Mr. Sinister, aka Nathaniel Essex. David Himlin as Magneto.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Dan Hennessy as Ruckus. Peter McCowett as Amphibious and Barbarous. Ron Rubin as Morph. Megan Smith Harris as Vertigo and Shauna the She-Devil. And Rod Wilson as Gorgeous George.
Gosh.
In this episode is the debut of Lupo and Brainchild in the Savage Land, along with Kazar and Zabu.
Mm-hmm.
Brainchild, a somewhat creepy-looking mutate, tells Professor Xavier that he watches the equipment while the master is away.
He sounds like a certain character.
This is a reference to the movie Manos, The Hands of Fate from 1966, a film that features a creepy-looking satyr named Torgo who takes care of the place while the master is away. And you have never heard of Manos, The Hands of Fate,
No, I never have.
It is a bad movie that I first learned of because of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Torgo is a popular character among the people. Fun fact, that movie was made because somebody lost a bet.
Really?
And was made in El Paso.
Oh, gosh.
And looks like absolute garbage.
Okay, then.
But anyway. Interestingly enough, Magneto identifies the leader of the mutates as Sauron. In The Lord of the Rings, the wizard Gandalf leads the fight against a villain named Sauron. Both Magneto and Gandalf have been played at least once by Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes. I made that connection. I was like, wow.
When Morph is shown during his Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde performance, his appearance is based on Calvin Zabo, aka Mr. Hyde, Marvel villain of Daredevil and Thor. This also marks the character's first kind of sort of appearance on television.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I'm assuming IMDb's trivia is not guiding me down the wrong path. But anyway, Jacob, what are your thoughts on these two episodes?
these were good episodes. It wraps the story up. There again, be like, obviously you knew it was Sinister behind the entire thing. You knew it.
I mean, he was at the beginning when they landed in the Savage Lands the first time because Morph sent them there.
Yes.
So, gee, I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because Sinister was our villain in the beginning of the season. Obviously, you got to wrap that around what happens with Sinister in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they play it very well. It's the storytelling is very well done to an extent. I enjoy where the X-Men are lured into the Savage Land. They know they're going into a trap, and they go anyway because they got to save the Professor and Magneto. And I love there again the dynamic between Xavier and Magnus or Magneto. I think it's very well done, even though it's sparsely done throughout the series, throughout season 2. And I find that very interesting that these two characters who be like have dynamically am I saying that right? Dynamically opposed viewpoints. They have to work together. They have to work together in order to survive, and I enjoy that part where the X-Men come into the land and they don't have their powers. And I can't remember what character says it, but it's be like, what are you without your powers? Nothing. And that's so incredibly true that these super powered heroes without their powers, minus Wolverine, be like are normal human beings who are so codependent on their powers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they explore that later in the series or not, but it's very interesting when you have a mutant character who no longer uses their powers to how are they able to defend themselves against other mutants without power. So I find that very interesting, except for Wolverine. I loved where Wolverine be like, he realized he can still pop his claws out, but it hurts. Like we don't get him on the ground screaming because his hands, he's the adamantium going through his hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy that part. I enjoy the story itself where Rogue and Gambit finally share a kiss with each other.
Yeah.
How much be like they do mean to each other. And I enjoy that part. I love it where Scott removes his visor or moves his it's a visor, right?
Yeah, it's a visor.
Yeah, removes his visor. You actually see his face because he no longer has an optic blast. I enjoy that. There again, it ties in with be like mutants without powers, or just normal human beings, and they know what it means to be vulnerable. And the part I didn't like because they literally just rehash what they did in episode 1, season 2, or I think it was a 2-parter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's be like, Mr. Sinister's doing the same song and dance. I've got to get Jean Grey. I've got to get Cyclops because we got to make them, do this dance in order to fulfill some kind of thing he wants to do with mutant kind. It's the same song and dance, and it's Sinister be like doing his Sinister thing, and it just be like it's the final episode is just a rehash of the part 2 from the beginning of the season. And I wish they would have done something a little different, but it's the same song and dance, except they finally defeat Sinister, except, he's still going to come back. We know that.
Yeah.
But it's that same song and dance. So it's, they rehash it. I was kind of like, I was disappointed that we did the same song and dance. I wish we would have done something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part 2. That is my thoughts on parts 1 and 2 of Reunion.
So I am happy we're finally getting at least some wrap up on Magneto and Xavier's romp through the Savage Lands.
Mm-hmm.
Though, like I said last week, it really does feel like that was meant to be a separate episode that they didn't have enough time to money to make an episode on.
I agree.
So that would have been nice to at least have that to help cement that in. Because I swear some of the scenes in the first episodes, previously on X-Men segment, some of those we didn't actually see. and during the episode.
That's a possibility.
A lot of those felt like they must have been deleted scenes, because a lot of that I just did not remember happening. Which stuff happens. At least we did get to see some of it to help lead us into this episode.
Agreed.
But there was I count a couple of errors, animation errors. One of them, the red diamond on Mr. Sinister's chest, for like half of a scene, it's black and then it turns red.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Which was
right.
like, oh, it was interesting. It's like I'm watching this going, hey, that diamond is supposed to be red, isn't it? Boom, it's red. It's like, thank you for that answer. Mr. Sinister, I don't think is an odd villain. Okay,
He is an odd villain.
I don't really understand. Grant, I have not read the X-Men comics from this era, or much X-Men comics in general, for being honest. So I really don't know what Mr. Sinister's motivation for I don't really understand what he's doing, what his point is, other than he's experimenting on mutants and trying to make a better mutant, I guess. And that's why taking over what was apparently Magneto's base in the Savage Lands, where he was also experimenting on humans or on making mutates for whatever reason. That makes sense to some degree, but this was to some degree this was a straightforward episode. It was a rescue op. It somewhat went south, and a lot of it was, I'm stronger than you are. I'm going to weaken. I'm going to take Magneto's strength and make it mine. It's like, will you shut up, lady? Vertigo isn't a very annoying character.
I agree. She is.
And I still don't really know. Okay, so she took, I'm assuming, Mr. Sinister copied Magneto's magnetism off of him and gave it to her, is what I'm assuming. I understood what happened, but I still don't see her. She's doing more. Her powers are more psychic before that point.
Yeah, but she never used the I think it's just more, she absorbs more of his strength than his power.
Maybe. I mean,
she never used the magnetism.
Her energy
wave is
a different color.
Yeah,
it's more it's less glowy. You can kind of see the pattern, the gel pattern that was behind it.
Yeah.
And after that point, and her energy output is more like, Magneto's red expanding circle that he uses a lot of times, except it was not red. It was, anyway. I was really more hoping to see, like, okay, this sounds a lot like Weapon X.
Yeah.
Because maybe that was, I don't know. I'm assuming this was copying Weapon X, because I assume in the comics Weapon X had already happened by this point.
Yeah.
But then I don't really know how things, I don't know actual turn of events in the comics. But this seems a lot like what they were doing with Weapon X, where they're trying to make the perfect mutant by combining all these different powers along with the adamantium and all that.
Yeah, no X-Men Origins Wolverine. Thank you very much.
No. I hate their excuse for where Deadpool's name came from in that movie, because that's not where the name comes from. Deadpool was literally called Deadpool in the comics and because he was a failed. They thought he was a failed experiment, so they threw him with the rest of the failed experiments in the Deadpool. And he took his name from that. Not that he was this ultimate machine that was a pool of deadly powers.
Yeah,
it's like, it's dumb.
Yeah, agree. It is dumb.
Anyway, I don't know. Mr. Sinister is just such an odd villain for the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what his motivation is anymore. And because I get what Apocalypse is. That's very obvious. He wants to cause the apocalypse. I get what Magneto's trying to do. He's trying to raise he's trying to fight for mutant superiority. Or at least that's generally what he does.
Yeah.
And
Mojo
just wants to make I know it's a good television, whereas no, that's not what he wants. Mojo just wants to make profitable television.
Yes.
But you get to Mr. Sinister, it's like, are you just playing God? Is that your thing?
Pretty much.
Because I really hope you're more. It was one of those things where I was watching, going, I really hope you're a more interesting character in the comics than you are here, and that maybe at some point this will bleed over, and I'll understand what your entire point is. Because I actually have this problem with the movies too, because he's in Days of Future Past, because he's the one in charge of the Sentinel program.
Yes,
for some reason.
Yeah,
and it's like I still don't know what your thing is, but anyway. I am looking forward to next season. That's looking like it's probably going to be good.
Yes.
But
and we're getting a lot more of like the classic stories.
Yeah. And this wasn't a bad couple episodes. It did do a nice job of wrapping up kind of what the season was. Because this season was very much, we needed to get the two biggest egos out of the room so that we could learn about all our characters.
Yeah.
And that's why they were in that. Honestly, that's in my thought. That's why Magneto and Xavier were in the Savage Land, so they would not be involved in causing issues, so that the rest of the team could get their time in the spotlight. Now that we know who these characters are to some degree,
yes,
I'm really hoping next season, at least looking at the episodes for next season, I know we're going to get into some of the classic stuff.
Oh yeah.
Get into really good stuff, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're coming up on Phoenix.
Yeah, we are.
Which is going to be, oh boy,
it's the third episode in season 3, and it's a saga.
And that's just the regular Phoenix.
Yeah,
not Dark Phoenix. So yeah. In fact, next episodes that we're going to be reviewing are
Out of the Past, No.
I jumped ahead.
Out of the Past,
part one and two. So join us next time for that. You got anything before we cut out for the evening?
No, this was a really good conclusion to a series. Definitely looking forward to season 3, because season 3, that's where things get really good. Definitely chronology from the comics and in this series, because there again, a lot of us growing up were not be like big comic nerds until you watch X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man, all these great things. That's where a lot of the geekdom comes from.
Yeah. Well, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, season 3 is where most of my memories for the show actually lie.
Yeah.
Because, well, yeah, this would be about the time I was starting to really pay attention. So join us next week for that, along with Batman and X-Men in the same episode. We are going back to the 90s.
Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So yeah, join us next week for that. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame. So close, Deedlet.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
empire of injustice.
Okie dokie.
You don't remember Julia saying this line, do you?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's the end of the show. Guys.
Yes, this has been the show. Yes, thank you guys
I'm gonna
so
find
much.
somebody to raid.
Yeah. So what was that? Who was the Bobo?
Bobo joined in. He said, "Evening, gents," just as we were finishing up.
Yeah. Thanks, Bobo.
And I closed the wrong thing. Well, not the wrong thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Gotta find someone for the Twitch people to raid. Because I don't think Roy is on tonight. He doesn't look like he's on, or maybe does he not start till 9? No, that's Saturdays.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll send you all over to Book of Gaming. He's playing some Metroid Dread. It looks like. So yeah, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we will catch y'all next week.
Later, guys. Thank you.
Once I hit all the right buttons. I haven't hit that in stream yet.
Thanks.
You just keep going with your